I am going to mute everyone now.
Hi, hello.
Avinash, unmute yourself and start.
Good evening, everyone. Today, topic of my presentation is transient osteoporosis of the hip. Transient osteoporosis of the hip was first reported in 1947 by Raoult, which was followed by Curtis and Kinsinard in 1959. Transient osteoporosis of hip is described by many names. It is also known as bone marrow edema syndrome, transient demineralization, complex regional pain syndrome type 1. Some people address as also migratory osteolysis. Some people address as algodystrophy of the hip. We'll go forward to epidemiology. Transient osteoporosis of hip is mostly seen in middle-aged men, 40 to 55-year-old, and male to female ratio is around 3:1. When women are affected, it is most probably the females in third trimester of pregnancy. Generally, only one hip joint is affected, and in future, again, recurrence is the possible in same hip joint. Etiology, there is no consensus in literature for the etiology, but various theories has been postulated. First theory I would like to tell is neurogenic theory, which was proposed by Curtis and Kinsinard. He said that possible intermittent compression of the mother's obturator nerve by the child's head, but it could not be experimentally reproduced in the dogs. Next theory is theory of disuse. It says that osteopenia follows the disuse caused by the patient's functional impairment. But we saw that demineralization takes place is a very limited joint area without affecting the rest of the extremity. Also, complete recovery of the bone density has been documented, although the involved extremity was non-weight bearing. Next theory was non-traumatic type of reflex sympathetic dystrophy. We saw that clinical, radiological, and scintigraphy appearance of both the pathologies, reflex sympathetic dystrophy and transient osteoporosis were similar. But later we found out that it lacks vascular and cutaneous changes, which are characteristic of reflex sympathetic dystrophy. It was this transient osteoporosis of hip, it lacks the vascular and cutaneous changes. Next theory was viral infection. We saw that in case of viral infection, it stimulates the osteoclastic resorption and demineralization, which was generating stress fracture and pain with weight bearing. But this also theory has not been confirmed by the further studies. The last theory was transient ischemic event theory. It says it produce limited cell death involved only the hematopoietic and fatty elements. Further, histology shows that intertrabecular edema, inflammatory infiltrates, fat, bone resorption, and new bone formation. Transient osteoporosis of hip has been proposed as early reversible phase of avascular necrosis. But clinical, imaging, and histopathological differences, including gross appearance, distribution of repair tissue, viability of bone trabeculae in the affected region, have proved that they are different disorders. Pathophysiology. In transient osteoporosis of hip, we see local hyperemia followed by impaired venous return, which causes marrow edema. Also, increased intramedullary pressure is there. And in case of pregnant females, pregnancy and lactation are stress factors on maternal calcium and homeostasis. In pregnancy, maternal placental transfer of calcium and physiological hypercalciuria is seen, which causes decreased serum calcium. Further, it is compensated by increased 1,2-dihydroxy vitamin D3 level that enhances the gastrointestinal calcium absorption. But overall, there is transient decrease in bone mass during pregnancy. Further, transfer of calcium from serum into breast milk during lactation also precipitates this condition, which causes decreased serum calcium. then bone loss in the initial 6 months and recovering during the 2 years after lactation. The mother is at the risk. In pregnant women, other theories as well were proposed, which says damage to the joint as a result of venous stasis of pregnancy, damage to the lumbosacral cord as it passes across the pelvic brim. All these theories do not explain the cases in which occurred in men and non-pregnant women. Patient usually present as sudden progressive pain in affected joint causing limp without any previous trauma, but the symptoms which we see in this condition, and it is far more aggravating than we see on the x-rays. The pain increases while walking and standing, often improving with the rest. Also, rapid severe osteoporosis localized to the same area is seen. In this condition, range of motion is joint is restricted and it is terminally painful. Patient has duration of symptom up to 6 to 9 months, and further spontaneous involvement of other joints are seen in this condition. Transient osteoporosis of hip was divided into 3 phases: initial phase, middle phase, and last phase. In initial phase, there is intense pain with functional impairment. This intense phase lasts for about 1 month. Middle phase, after 1 to 2 months, symptoms remain unchanged, and marked osteopenia appears on X-ray after 2 months. In the last phase, spontaneous regression takes place with improvement in the bone density. These periods last about 4 months. The joints involved in transient osteoporosis of hip, as we know, it's most commonly it is hip joint, followed by knee joint. Then lastly, in rare cases, it is also seen in foot and ankle. Transient migratory osteoporosis, which may present as single episode affecting only one joint, or recurrent episode that may involve 2 to 7 joints, either successively or with overlapping. The time interval between recurrences may be short or as long as 2 or more years. Imaging investigations we do, first is radiography. Bone density is normal until 4 to 8 weeks have elapsed since the onset of clinical symptoms. First radiological sign we see is on X-ray is only after 4 to 8 weeks. Later on, periarticular diffuse osteopenia can be seen that in hip rarely affects the pelvic bone and greater trochanter. Joint space remain normal in transient osteoporosis of hip, which means we can differentiate this condition from the other stages of avascular necrosis. Bone remineralization takes place spontaneously after 6 to 8 months of period. Bone scan, next investigation we do bone scan. It is very sensitive investigation, but it lacks specificity. Diffuse homogeneous increased radionuclide uptake is seen in bone scan in affected joint few days after onset of symptoms. Usually within 48 hours we can see changes on bone scan. When symptom diminishes, a gradual decrease in radionuclide uptake is detected after the condition is resolved. Next investigation is MRI. MRI is the we can call the MRI as modality of choice for this condition. 48 hours after the development of clinical symptoms and regression with clinical improvement, about 6 to 8 months we can see. And on MRI we can see ill-defined area of decreased signal intensity on T1 weighted images with area of increased signal intensity on T2 weighted images. This diffuse signal abnormality has attributed to bone marrow edema. In the hip, these changes mainly affect the head, neck, and intertrochanteric region. This is T2 weighted images, MRI of T2 weighted images. We can see a normal scan, then middle is the avascular necrosis changes, and the last one is transient osteoporosis of hip. We can see there is this is T2 weighted images, and we can see increased intensity in the scan. Differential diagnosis, we can differentiate this condition. This condition closely resembles to avascular necrosis of hip, then rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, infectious arthritis, reflex sympathetic dystrophy, also crystal induced arthropathy. The transient osteoporosis of hip closely resembles to avascular necrosis. So I would like to give some distinguishing points about this condition. As we know, male is to female ratio is 3:1 in transient osteoporosis of hip, but in avascular necrosis there is equal sex distribution. Then in most common age group presentation is middle-aged men and women of third trimester of pregnancy. Around transient osteoporosis of hip is seen 40 to 55-year-old age group individuals, and avascular necrosis seen around mainly 20 to 40 years age group. Then transient osteoporosis of hip is mostly unilateral, and avascular necrosis more than 50% cases have bilateral presentation. Sorry. Risk factors, there are various risk factors. One of the risk factors is it's seen in third trimester of pregnancy, and avascular necrosis, we know that there are various risk factors such as steroids, alcohol consumption, tobacco consumption, etc. Symptoms, transient osteoporosis of hip, mainly acute pain is seen, which is improved on partial weight bearing. But in avascular necrosis, the pain is insidious onset and progressively it worsens. On examination, we can see the range of motion is preserved in transient osteoporosis of hip, but when we see the extreme of range of motion, there is some restriction is present. But in case of avascular necrosis, there is marked reduction in range of motion, especially internal rotation. On X-ray, we can see that diffuse osteopenia, femoral head and neck at about 4 to 6 in transient osteoporosis of hip. And in avascular necrosis, we can see localized sclerosis, crescent sign, and collapse. On bone scan, in transient osteoporosis of hip, we can see homogeneous increased uptake on femoral head and neck. And in avascular necrosis, we can see localized uptake in femoral head and neck. On MRI, as we have earlier seen, diffuse edema, but no focal defect or subchondral changes were seen on MRI. In avascular necrosis, we can see focal defect, subchondral changes, anterosuperiorly region of femoral head. The treatment in case of transient osteoporosis, it is protected weight bearing and symptomatic treatment is there. And in avascular necrosis, early surgical treatment is advised. Prognosis of transient osteoporosis of hip is usually self-limiting. It resolves on its own, and in avascular necrosis, the condition is progressive. So in detail, I would like to talk about the transient osteoporosis of hip, what treatment we usually give to the patient. First, we have to distinguish this condition from avascular necrosis. So after distinguishing it, we advise the patient symptomatic treatment with NSAIDs, muscle relaxant, and anti-anxiety agents we give. We can also give corticosteroid therapy, 15 mg of prednisolone daily for 4 weeks, followed by gradual tapering. We can give physical therapy, range of motion exercises, forced gradual weight bearing have been shown to prevent associated localized muscle atrophy. Weight bearing helps to promote cortical thickening, give greater architectural strength to the bones. Local sympathectomy using posterior tibial nerve blocks have been helpful in some condition. We also repeated follow-up we take of the patient and repeat MRI every 3 months to determine the progression of osteopenia. Traumatic fractures of the femur, neck, and stress fractures are most serious complication during pregnancy. So treatment of transient migratory osteoporosis in case of pregnant females, we see that transient osteoporosis during pregnancy has to be treated conservatively with strict recommendation to restrict weight bearing until there is radiographic evidence of reconstitution of the bone mass. Pathological fracture has to be surgically treated postpartumly. This is a T2 weighted, on the left side there is T1 weighted MRI image of both hip joint, and on the on the left side and shows diffuse low signal intensity throughout the left femoral head and neck. Then on the right side, we can see the T2 weighted images of fat saturation shows diffuse high signal intensity of left femoral head and neck with joint effusion. These findings are typical of transient osteoporosis of left hip joint. After this, this is the follow-up MRI of the same patient. On left side, we can see T1 weighted images and T2 weighted images on the right side obtained 4 months after the diagnosis of transient osteoporosis. Then we can see intensity in femoral head and neck. I would like to conclude by saying that transient osteoporosis of hip should always be considered as a differential diagnosis of acute hip pain in young man. Symptoms of transient osteoporosis of hip are sudden in onset and may be severe but resolve over time with reduced weight bearing. Also, early differentiation of transient osteoporosis of hip from avascular necrosis will avoid unnecessary surgical intervention to the patient and ensure appropriate treatment. Thank you.
Stop sharing your screen, Avinash.
Yes, sir.
Mohanty sir.
Yeah, very nice presentation actually. A lot of things we knew today. Transient osteoporosis is, it's a less described condition, but there is an entity exists, transient osteoporosis, which should be taken as a differential diagnosis. What is your source of information, Avinash?
I had, sir, 2 papers. One paper was for I have transient osteoporosis of hip paper was there by Raju Vaishya, Amit Kumar Agrawal.
Raju Vaishya, okay.
Yeah, and another paper was of Anita Balkrishnan, distinguishing transient osteoporosis of hip from avascular necrosis.
Which journal is this?
It is from Canadian Medical Association Journal.
Okay. Now, tell me what is the characteristic sign of diagnostic sign of avascular necrosis in MRI? In the examination, it is often asked.
Yes, sir. On MRI, subchondral changes.
Any of you students? Diagnostic sign of avascular necrosis in MRI. MRI is the diagnostic investigation for avascular necrosis, correct?
Yes,
but
sir.
in MRI, that one sign is the diagnostic of avascular necrosis.
Intensity.
What is none of you? What is double density sign?
Yes, sir. Double density sign.
You have shown in that MRI. In the
Yes,
different,
sir.
you showed
Yes,
an there is double density sign.
Yes, sir. Double density sign.
What is that double density sign?
It is
bone marrow edema extending to trochanteric region. No. Somebody has written that. That is not the correct thing. Read and get back.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And transient osteoporosis also, it's MRI is the diagnostic investigation.
Yes, sir. MRI
is the only investigation which will differentiate between transient osteoporosis and avascular necrosis.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir. Gopal, sir.
Yes, Kala, sir. Your comment, sir. Kala, sir.
Excellent presentation. Very brief. Lot of time saved. And this is entity well known. I have seen few cases, and sometimes they'll end up in over treatment by poor decompression.
Yes, sir.
And that is true. That is true. Yeah.
So one should avoid and think of this entity.
Yes.
Gopakumar, sir.
No, I just want, it was a good presentation with very good slides. I just want to ask, what's the role of bisphosphonates in the management of transient osteoporosis?
in a few papers I had read, they have recommended bisphosphonate at management of transient osteoporosis. Uh, Bisphosphonates causes it is. I have read the.
And there are many papers which say that bisphosphonates are helpful.
Yes, sir.
No, bisphosphonates were like wonder drug. Any
Yeah,
condition
wherever
where
you can
we
use.
we don't know the treatment, we give bisphosphonates. That was the, you know, it was like, you know, earlier used to give steroids in everything. Now bisphosphonate for orthopedic surgeons is the rescue medicine.
Sir, I had a question. 15 milligram prednisolone for almost a month. Will it not predispose after this transient osteoporosis fades away? Will it not be the cause for the avascular necrosis?
There is a possibility. You cannot entirely rule out.
Okay, sir.
Because
Uday,
steroids
sir.
have got both the effects. It has got you know, idiosyncratic as well as cumulative effect for avascular necrosis.
So,
So
is
in
the,
certain predisposed individual, it can cause you know, avascular necrosis.
then in which select cases of transient osteoporosis we should think of steroids, sir?
No, you cannot know. You don't know that which patients will develop avascular necrosis. You cannot tell that.
Sir, but in transient osteoporosis, in which select cases we should think that one must go for the steroid therapy?
Only.
Yeah,
Can I say, sir?
yeah.
Yes.
Only when the conservative management patient is not improving, then only we can go for steroid.
What do you mean by conservative management?
Partial weight bearing we advise to the patient initially, and we see and painkillers for the pain symptomatic relief we give. If even after a symptomatic relief, if he is not improving, then we may consider steroid to.
Okay. Gopakumar sir, your comment please regarding
Yeah,
steroid use.
Yeah, I think nowadays more of bisphosphonates are being used.
Correct.
Steroid, there is always a problem of AVN.
Sir.
And again, they in females it occur in the third trimester of pregnancy, where I don't think anybody will give high dose of steroids.
Because sir, 15 milligram per day is quite a high dose
Yeah.
for a month.
Bisphosphonates also will help for avascular necrosis. It is a treatment of choice for
Yes,
avascular necrosis.
sir.
Sir, I am leaving for some other. I got another webinar on cerebral palsy. I am leaving now, sir.
Right, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
मोहंती सर, आपका रजिस्ट्रार जो लड़का है उसको कुछ 2-3 टास्क दिए थे सर.
Yeah.
हाँ, उसने अगर किया है तो we can we have a time, sir.
He's there. Abhishek Rai is there.
Abhishek.
Sir, I will share this.
Gopal.
Yes, sir. Share.
Gopal, sir, can I
Yeah,
have my
yeah.
comments?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Vijay Kumar sir and Partha sir's comments.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Till the time this
The Partha, sir,
Abhishek
your
is sharing.
comments. Partha, sir. He is not on me. Sir is muted.
सर आपका कमेंट दीजिए सर, तब तक मैं उनसे बात करता हूँ.
Good evening, sir.
Sir, good evening. How are you, sir?
Good evening. Good.
Yes, sir.
Improving day by day.
Great, sir. Sir, your comments, please.
Yeah, I came a little late, but the use of steroid has become quite common along with the bisphosphonates.
Sir, but duration and dose is the worrisome part, sir. So, in which cases you will say that I will give steroid? Now, there is no other choice for me.
Yeah, but when you should think about steroids almost in the time it might go into a chondrolysis kind of thing.
Sure.
So that's the time I will probably think about definitely giving steroids. You cannot say who will develop this thing.
Avian.
I have seen people with eye problems taking 60 milligrams of prednisolone per day for over 2 months, 3 months, and who have not developed avascular necrosis of the femoral head. I've seen 2-3 patients like that. But you really cannot pinpoint who might develop, but you cannot stop a person from getting the benefit of a steroid management. But I think we should tell the patient that this is a possibility.
Right, sir. Uday Kumar, sir.
Gopal
Yes,
from
yes.
Avinash. How this posterior tibial nerve block helps?
Avinash.
In some patient, when it is the mimicking the symptom of reflex sympathetic dystrophy, in those only cases which has transient osteoporosis of hip, then those cases we do sympathetically. We try that treatment, sir.
So this is posterior tibial nerve. It go down.
Yes, sir.
So you mean that the theory of reflex sympathetic?
Sympathetic dystrophy, we use that management.
Something like a sodium channel blocker.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Uday Kumar, sir, your comment, please.
Yes.
Then I will ask Abhishek to start with his presentation.
Avinash, excellent presentation.